The deeper you go into the ocean, the more terrifying life becomes. Just 200 meters below the surface, sunlight begins to disappear. Strange creatures emerge from the darkness. Their bodies turn transparent. Their eyes grow enormous. But that's only the beginning. With every kilometer downward, evolution becomes more extreme and harder to believe. And at the very bottom of the ocean, creatures survive in conditions that seem impossible. So, why do they become so terrifying? At the surface, the ocean feels familiar. Sunlight pours through the water. Schools of fish move through coral reefs. Dolphins hunt in open water. Whales travel across entire oceans. It is a world powered by the sun. Almost everything here depends on it. Tiny microscopic plankton capture sunlight and transform it into energy. Those plankton feed small fish. Small fish feed larger predators. From the smallest organism to the largest whale, life is connected by a chain that begins with light. But that familiar world doesn't last forever. As we descend deeper, the ocean slowly begins to change. At first, the transformation is subtle. Colors start to disappear. Reds fade first, turning dark and lifeless. Then oranges and yellows begin to vanish. The deeper you go, the less the ocean resembles the world above. And then, at around 200 meters, you cross an invisible boundary. This is where sunlight begins to die. Scientists call this region the twilight zone. It stretches far below the reach of most divers and covers an enormous portion of the planet. Here, sunlight still exists, but only barely. The bright blue world above has become a dim and endless dusk. For the creatures living here, survival becomes much more difficult. Food is scarce. The lush productivity of the surface is gone. There are no forests of seaweed, no coral cities, no fields of plankton capturing sunlight. Instead, much of the food arrives from above. Every day, tiny particles drift downward through the water, fragments of dead plankton, microscopic waste, bits of decaying animals. Scientists call it marine snow. To us, it looks insignificant. To the creatures below, it is a lifeline. In this dim world, every meal matters, and when food becomes scarce, evolution begins to take strange paths. Many animals living in the twilight zone look nothing like the fish we recognize near the surface. Some have eyes so large they appear oversized for their bodies. Others develop enormous pupils capable of collecting even the faintest traces of light. Imagine living in a world where seeing a single flash in the darkness could mean the difference between eating and starving. Every advantage matters. Every adaptation matters. Over millions of years, the pressure to survive has transformed these animals into something unusual, something almost alien. Yet, despite their strange appearance, the creatures of the twilight zone are only the beginning of our descent. Because down here, evolution is still trying to work with the last traces of sunlight. But farther below, even that disappears. And when the light finally vanishes completely, the ocean becomes home to creatures that seem less like animals and more like nightmares. As the last traces of sunlight fade, a strange problem begins to dominate life in the deep ocean: visibility. In the world above, animals can hide behind rocks, coral reefs, or underwater forests. But in the open ocean, there is nowhere to hide, only water, an endless, empty expanse stretching in every direction. For millions of years, predators and prey have been locked in an evolutionary arms race. every creature is trying to solve the same challenge. How do you avoid being seen? Some species arrived at an astonishing solution. They simply disappeared. The glass squid is one of the most remarkable examples. Its body is almost completely transparent, making it nearly invisible in the dim waters of the deep. Internal organs appear suspended inside a body that looks more like glass than flesh. Nearby, another creature drifts through the darkness. The glass octopus. Unlike most octopuses, its body is almost entirely see-through. Only its eyes and a few internal organs reveal that an animal is even there at all. Against the faint light filtering from above, these creatures become little more than ghosts. But transparency is only one strategy. Other animals chose something even stranger. Instead of hiding from light, they learned how to create it. Throughout the deep ocean, countless species possess the ability to produce their own glow through a process known as bioluminescence. At first glance, it looks beautiful. Tiny blue flashes pulse through the darkness. Dots of light drift through the water like stars in a black sky. But this light is not decoration. It is a weapon, a shield, and a survival tool. Some animals use bioluminescence to attract mates. Others use it to startle predators. Some species release glowing clouds into the water, creating a luminous distraction while they escape into the darkness. But perhaps the most incredible use of bioluminescence is something called counter-illumination. To understand why, imagine looking upward from the depths. Far above, a faint glow still filters down from the surface. Any animal swimming overhead creates a dark silhouette against that light. Predators know this. They constantly scan for those shadows. So certain squid and fish evolved a remarkable defense. They cover the undersides of their bodies with light-producing organs and carefully adjust their brightness to match the faint glow above them. The result is almost impossible to believe. Instead of casting a shadow, they erase it. From below, they appear to vanish completely. In a world where being seen can mean death, this adaptation can be the difference between survival and becoming someone else's next meal. And the deeper scientists explore, the stranger these tricks become. Some species glow in complex patterns that researchers still don't fully understand. Others can switch their lights on and off in an instant. Many use biological systems so sophisticated that scientists are still trying to uncover how they evolved in the first place. But the most unsettling discovery is what these adaptations reveal. The deep ocean is not a peaceful world. It is a battlefield, a place where creatures are under such constant pressure that evolution has pushed them toward abilities that seem almost impossible. And deeper still, hiding is no longer enough. Because in the darkness ahead, the hunters are waiting. Eventually, we reach a depth where sunlight disappears completely. There is no sunrise here, no sunset, no moonlight, no stars, just endless darkness. This is the midnight zone, a realm stretching thousands of meters below the surface. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and the pressure is hundreds of times greater than anything humans experience on land. To us, it seems impossible that anything could survive here. Yet some of the most terrifying predators on Earth call this darkness home. In a world where food is scarce, every opportunity matters. A missed meal can mean death, and over millions of years, that pressure has transformed deep-sea hunters into creatures that look more like monsters than animals. One of the most infamous is the viperfish. At first glance, it barely seems real. Its body is relatively small, but its mouth is packed with long, needle-like teeth so large that they cannot fit properly inside its jaws. Even when its mouth is closed, the teeth remain exposed. In the darkness, the viperfish drifts almost motionless, conserving energy. Then, when prey comes close enough, it strikes with explosive speed. The attack lasts only a fraction of a second. For the victim, there is no escape. But even the viperfish is not the most unsettling hunter in these depths. That title may belong to the dragonfish. Unlike most creatures in the deep sea, the dragonfish can produce red bioluminescence. This might not sound remarkable until you understand one important fact. Down here, red light effectively doesn't exist. Most deep-sea animals cannot see it at all, which means the dragonfish has developed something extraordinary, a private flashlight. It can illuminate prey without revealing its own position, scanning the darkness while remaining almost completely hidden. Even more astonishing, its eyes are specially adapted to detect the very light that most other animals cannot see. It's as if evolution gave the dragonfish access to a secret wavelength, a hunting advantage invisible to almost everything around it. Then there is the fang tooth. Despite being relatively small, it possesses some of the largest teeth relative to body size of any fish on Earth. Its jaws are so crowded with enormous fangs that special pockets have evolved inside its head just to accommodate them when its mouth closes. Looking at it, it's difficult to believe such a creature exists outside of fiction. Yet, every feature serves a purpose. Because in the midnight zone, there are no second chances. Predators must capture prey whenever the opportunity appears, and prey must avoid detection at all costs. This constant struggle has created an evolutionary arms race unlike anything found near the surface. Some hunters evolved oversized mouths capable of swallowing prey nearly as large as themselves. Others developed highly sensitive eyes that can detect the faintest flash of bioluminescence from hundreds of feet away. Every adaptation is designed around one brutal reality. Food is rare, and survival is never guaranteed. But the deeper scientists investigate these predators, the more disturbing the picture becomes. Because terrifying teeth and secret hunting weapons are only part of the story. Far below, evolution begins to alter something even more fundamental: reproduction itself. And what happens next may be the strangest adaptation in the entire ocean. The deeper we descend, the harder it becomes to relate to the creatures living below. Their bodies are strange, their behaviors are stranger, but nowhere does evolution seem more unsettling than in the way some deep-sea animals reproduce. At first, this might seem surprising. After all, finding a mate is something every species must do. But in the deep ocean, that challenge becomes almost impossible. Imagine living in complete darkness, an environment so vast that two individuals of the same species may spend years drifting through the water without ever encountering one another. For many deep-sea animals, simply finding a mate can be the greatest challenge of their entire lives. And nowhere is this more extreme than in the anglerfish. Most people recognize the anglerfish because of its glowing lure. Suspended above its mouth is a bioluminescent beacon used to attract prey from the darkness. It is one of the most famous adaptations in the deep sea. But the anglerfish's greatest mystery has nothing to do with hunting. It begins with the male. Unlike the large and fearsome female, male anglerfish are tiny, In some species, they are little more than a fraction of her size. They possess weak bodies, limited energy reserves, and one primary objective: find a female. This is easier said than done. The deep ocean is unimaginably vast. A single fish may spend its entire life searching through darkness for another member of its species. So, evolution found a solution, a disturbing one. When a male finally locates a female, he bites into her body. And then he never lets go. Over time, their tissues begin to fuse together. His bloodstream merges with hers. His organs gradually shrink. His eyes disappear. His digestive system becomes unnecessary. Eventually, almost nothing remains except the reproductive organs that continue supplying sperm whenever needed. The male has effectively become part of the female's body, a permanent attachment, a living reproductive appendage. It is one of the most extreme reproductive strategies known anywhere in the animal kingdom. And yet, for life in the deep sea, it works. The alternative may be never finding a mate again. The anglerfish is not alone in developing bizarre solutions. Throughout the deep ocean, scientists have discovered species with reproductive behaviors so unusual that many were initially difficult to explain. Some rely on chemical signals capable of traveling long distances through the water. Others produce enormous numbers of offspring in the hope that a few will survive. Every strategy reflects the same reality. Life here operates under conditions unlike anywhere else on Earth. The rules we consider normal begin to break down, and as those rules disappear, evolution starts experimenting with solutions that seem almost unimaginable. But as strange as these creatures are, they still face an even greater challenge: the environment itself. Because farther below, the ocean becomes a place of crushing pressure, endless cold, and extreme isolation. A world so hostile that survival should be impossible. Yet somehow, life found a way, and in doing so, it created giants. 4 kilometers below the surface, the ocean changes once again. The open waters above begin to give way to a vast seafloor stretching beyond the horizon. This is the abyssal plain, one of the largest habitats on Earth. And yet, it is also one of the least explored. There are no coral reefs here, no underwater forests, no colorful ecosystems bursting with life, only an enormous landscape of mud and sediment extending for thousands of kilometers in every direction. The darkness is absolute. The water hovers just above freezing, and the pressure is almost impossible to imagine. Every square inch is being squeezed by thousands of pounds of force. To humans, it sounds like a place where nothing should survive. Yet, life persists, and in some cases it grows to astonishing sizes. Scuttling across the seafloor are giant isopods, distant relatives of the pill bugs found in gardens around the world. But these are no ordinary relatives. Some grow larger than a football, with armored bodies and powerful legs built for life in the abyss. Nearby, enormous amphipods roam the darkness. Creatures that, in shallow waters, are typically tiny, can reach sizes many times larger in the deep. Scientists call this phenomenon deep-sea gigantism. But despite decades of research, no one fully understands why it happens. Some researchers believe larger bodies help conserve energy in an environment where food is scarce. Others suggest that increased size offers protection from predators. The truth is that we still don't know, and that mystery only adds to the strangeness of the deep. Occasionally, the abyss receives an unexpected gift from above. A whale dies near the surface and begins a long journey downward. For days, its body sinks through the darkness until it finally reaches the seafloor. What happens next transforms the surrounding area. Scavengers arrive first, then larger communities follow. Fish, worms, crustaceans, and countless microorganisms gather around the carcass, creating an oasis of life in an otherwise barren landscape. A single whale fall can support entire ecosystems for years, in some cases even decades. It is one of the most remarkable recycling systems on Earth. Nothing is wasted. Everything becomes part of the deep sea food web. But even these giants and temporary oases are not the most extraordinary survivors of the abyss. Because farther below lies a place even more extreme, a region so deep, so isolated, and so hostile that it was once thought to be completely lifeless. Instead, scientists discovered something far more surprising, an entire world thriving at the very bottom of the planet. Beyond the abyssal plains lies the deepest environment on Earth, a place so extreme that for centuries many scientists believed nothing could survive there. These are the ocean trenches, massive scars carved into the seafloor where tectonic plates collide and one slowly slides beneath another. Together they form the Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the ancient underworld. This realm begins around 6,000 meters below the surface and extends down to the deepest known point on the planet, the Mariana Trench, nearly 11 kilometers beneath the waves. To put that depth into perspective, if Mount Everest were placed inside the trench, its summit would still remain underwater. The conditions here are almost impossible to comprehend. The darkness is permanent. Temperatures hover near freezing, and the pressure is so immense that it would instantly crush an unprotected human body. Yet, life exists here, not only surviving, but thriving. Among the most remarkable inhabitants are snailfish. At first glance, they don't look particularly impressive. Their bodies are soft, fragile, and almost translucent. In fact, they appear far too delicate for one of the harshest environments on Earth. But appearances can be deceiving. These fish possess unique biological adaptation that allow their cells and proteins to function under pressures that would destroy most other forms of life. They are among the deepest living vertebrates ever discovered. Sharing the trenches with them are enormous populations of amphipods, small crustaceans that swarm across the seafloor in search of food. Anything that drifts down from above is quickly consumed. In a place where resources are scarce, nothing goes to waste. But one discovery shocked scientists. When researchers examined some trench-dwelling animals, they found traces of plastic inside their bodies. Plastic at one of the most remote locations on Earth. It was a sobering reminder that even the deepest parts of our planet are connected to the world above. The trenches may seem isolated, but they are not untouched. And despite decades of exploration, we still know remarkably little about them. Every expedition continues to reveal species never seen before. Strange sea cucumbers drifting in through the darkness, gelatinous organisms with unfamiliar body plans, microbes that survive using processes scientists are still trying to understand. Each discovery raises new questions, because the deeper we explore, the stranger life becomes. Yet even the trenches are not the end of the story. Hidden among parts of the deep ocean are environments so alien that they completely rewrite one of the most basic assumptions about life itself. The idea that every ecosystem depends on the sun. Because down here, life found another way. For most of Earth's history, scientists believed that all complex ecosystems ultimately depended on sunlight. After all, life at the surface is powered by the sun. Plants capture its energy, animals consume those plants, and entire food webs are built from that foundation. But deep beneath the ocean, scientists discovered something extraordinary, a completely different system. Along parts of the sea floor, cracks in Earth's crust release superheated water loaded with chemicals from deep within the planet. These are hydrothermal vents. At first glance, they look almost otherworldly. Towering structures rise from the darkness, surrounded by clouds of mineral-rich water. The environment is toxic, scorching hot in places, and utterly unlike anything found near the surface. Yet, life flourishes here. Instead of relying on sunlight, microscopic organisms use chemical reactions to generate energy. This process, known as chemosynthesis, forms the foundation of entire ecosystems. Giant tube worms, crabs, shrimp, and countless other organisms depend on these microbes for survival. It is life powered by the Earth itself, and the implications reach far beyond our oceans. If ecosystems can thrive without sunlight here, could similar forms of life exist elsewhere? Beneath the icy crusts of distant moons, inside hidden oceans far beyond Earth? The deep sea has become more than a place of exploration. It has become a window into worlds we have yet to discover. And perhaps the greatest reminder that life is capable of far more than we once imagined. After everything we've seen, it's tempting to think we understand the deep ocean. The transparent creatures of the twilight zone, the glowing hunters of eternal darkness, the giant scavengers of the abyss, the fragile animals thriving at the bottom of the trenches. But the truth is far more unsettling. We have only scratched the surface. More than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. Vast regions of the deep have never been seen by human eyes. Every year, expeditions discover new species, new behaviors, and new mysteries hiding in the darkness. And many of the creatures we've already found continue to raise questions that scientists still cannot answer. Why do some species grow to enormous sizes? Why do so many produce their own light? How many unknown animals are still waiting in places we've never reached? No one knows. And that's what makes the deep ocean so fascinating. The terrifying creatures we've explored today are not the end of the story. They may only be the beginning. Because somewhere in the darkness below, beyond the limits of our maps and our technology, life is still evolving, still adapting, still hiding. And the deepest parts of the ocean are not terrifying because of what we've found there. They're terrifying because we still don't know what else is waiting in the dark.